Hello my dear students of class 10, hope you all are doing well. Today we are going to start with a new chapter, transpiration. Transpiration in plants. What is transpiration? Transpiration is the evaporative loss of water from leaves and other aerial parts of the plant, or we can also say transpiration is the loss of water in the form of vapor from leaves and other aerial parts of the plant. Children, plant absorb water, okay, but a very small amount of water, about 1 to 2% of absorbed water, is used by the plant for its photosynthesis and other cellular activities. The rest of the water remain in the body of the plant, but plant's body cannot retain excess water. Hence, that excess water is released in the atmosphere by plants in the form of vapor, and this process of releasing water in the form of vapor from leaves and other aerial parts of the plant is called transpiration. Now here in the picture you can see a small demonstration of transpiration. In the picture a well watered potted plant is taken, which is the plant is only covered with a polythene bag, but the pot and the soil is left uncovered. Because why? We will just have to demonstrate that water vapor is lost by aerial parts of the plant. The another control setup we have taken, that is number B, an empty polythene bag, and we keep this full setup for a while, okay, and after an hour we notice that the polythene bag is having, the inner wall of the polythene bag or the inner surface of the polythene bag is having droplets, water droplets. In the picture you can see water droplets appeared in the inner surface of the polythene bag. This is because these water droplets are actually condensed water vapor that is lost by the aerial parts of the plant, that is leaves and other aerial parts of the plant. So this water droplets are actually condensed water vapor lost by the leaves of the plant. So here it proves that transpiration, that leaf or the plant, the aerial parts of the plant is losing water in the form of vapor, and this is the reason why we are getting that water droplets in the inner surface of the polythene bag. Why we are not covering the soil? It is because soil is also releasing water from its surface. So if we also cover the soil, then some amount of water droplets may appear in the inner surface of the polythene bag due to the evaporation, surface evaporation, soil surface evaporation. So we do not need that. So to avoid that, we are not covering the soil part. Next we come to types of transpiration. So types of transpiration, how do we classify the transpiration? On the basis of the passage through which plants give out water in the form of vapor. So on the basis of the passages or on the basis of the outlets through which plant is releasing water in the form of water vapor, transpiration is of three types. They are stomatal transpiration, cuticular transpiration and lenticular transpiration. Stomatal transpiration, here you see in stomatal transpiration what is happening, plant is losing water in the form of vapor through stomata present on the surface of the leaves, especially on the underside of the leaves in dorsiventral, in dicot leaves. Now about 90 to 93% of transpiration takes place through stomata, okay. Very little amount of transpiration takes place through lenticels and cuticle. So about 90 to 93% of transpiration takes place through stomata. Now here you see the structure of a stomata, okay, a structure of a stoma. Stoma is the singular form and plural is stomata. Here you see the full structure. Stoma or stomata is made of two bean shaped guard cells. You can see two bean shaped guard cells are there. So a stomata is made of two bean shaped guard cells, and the guard cells have chloroplast, vacuole, cell wall, cell membrane, nucleus, everything. Remember, guard cells are having chloroplast, okay. In between the guard cells, you can see a small pore in stoma open. Picture you see in between the two guard cells, you can find a small pore which is known as stomatal pore. Now, this is how the water get released through stomata present on the leaves, present on the surface of the leaves. Now we will discuss, see how the guard cells are opening and closing and thus releasing the water vapor. Children, always remember, guard cells do not open to release water vapor. Guard cells actually open during the daytime when sunlight is there. Okay, in presence of sunlight only, guard cells open, and it only opens to support photosynthesis in plants. It means it opens to allow diffusion of carbon dioxide in plants so that plant can photosynthesize. Now in doing so, plant has to bear some cost, and the cost is like releasing water in the form of vapor. That is, transpiration is the cost that is paid by the plant to perform photosynthesis. Now how this stomata is opening and closing, we will see this. See here in the picture, during the daytime what is happening? As I told you, stomata contains chloroplast. So during the daytime there is sunlight. So when sunlight is there, the chloroplast in the stomata will perform photosynthesis. This photosynthesis process in the morning, during the daytime in plant, leads to the production of ATP. And the ATP in the guard cells actively pump potassium ions from the adjacent cells into the guard cells. I repeat, the ATP that is produced during the daytime due to photosynthesis by the guard cells, those ATP actively pump in the potassium ions into the guard cells from the adjacent cells. Thus, when potassium ion increase or enters the guard cells, it makes the guard cells hypertonic. Okay, it makes the guard cells hypertonic with respect to the surrounding cells, isn't it? Now potassium ions enter the guard cells and the guard cells become hypertonic with respect to the surrounding cells, and thus then what happens? Endosmosis takes place in guard cells, means water enters into the guard cells from the adjacent cells, and thus the guard cells become turgid. And you all know the inner wall of the guard cells are thick, rigid, whereas the outer wall is thin, and thus when the guard cells become turgid, it bulge out and bend like that, and thus make the stomata to open, and thus stomata open. So stomata open wide during the daytime in the presence of light, and at night when there is no light, what happens? The guard cell stops photosynthesis. The potassium ions also move out of the guard cells, and thus water also moves out of the guard cells, and the guard cells loses its turgidity, means it becomes flaccid. On flaccid guard cells, when it becomes flaccid, it closes. The stomata closes. So this is about the mechanism of stomatal opening, okay, and closing. Next we come to cuticular transpiration. Cuticular transpiration, what is cuticle? Do you know what is cuticle? Cuticle is a protective film covering over the plant surface, full plant body, okay. Especially we find them on the leaf surface and young stem, okay. So cuticle are protective film covering over the leaf surface and young stems. So any water loss or loss of water in the form of vapor, if takes place through this surface or through this cuticle, then it is called cuticular transpiration. This cuticle mainly serves to prevent excessive transpiration from the plant. Next we come to lenticular transpiration. Before we go to lenticular transpiration, let me show you the lenticels. Lenticels we find in some fruits like apple, pears, and mostly in woody stems, in old woody stems. If the plant is old and have old woody stems, we find these type of structures in old woody stems. These are lenticels. These lenticels remain open throughout the day and night. They never close, okay. They remain open. So any loss of water through this lenticel is called lenticular transpiration. Both cuticular and lenticular transpiration loses water in the form of vapor in very small amount. Stomatal transpiration loses 90 to 93 percentage of transpiration, or loses 90 to 93 percentage of water in the form of vapor. So this is the lenticular transpiration, okay, a loss of water in the form of vapor through lenticels. These lenticels never close or open. They remain, means like stomata, they do not open and close, they remain open all the time. Next we come to factors affecting transpiration. This is very interesting thing, factors affecting transpiration. Here we will see that there are two types of factors that affects transpiration. Some internal factors are there that affects the rate of transpiration. The internal factor is number of leaves. So more the number of leaves on the surface in the plant, more will be the transpiration. In some case we see some plants loses leaves in some particular season. Why? To reduce or to prevent transpiration in that case. So number of leaves, more leaves you find, more leaves, then broader surface of the leaves make rapid evaporation or rapid transpiration. Okay, so more leaves will result in greater water loss, as well as number of stomata. More stomata will provide more pores for transpiration. That is very natural. More stomata means more loss of water. Size of the leaf. Yes, the leaf size also plays a vital role. Yes, size of the leaf also plays a vital role. In some cases we see the leaves sometimes get reduced into a spine also, like in cactus we see the leaf surface get reduced to spine, so that the size of the leaves get reduced so that it can prevent excessive transpiration. So size of the leaf also play a big role. Means what we say, the bigger the surface area, bigger will be the rate of evaporation. So naturally bigger the surface area of the leaf will readily increase the rate of transpiration. Next, presence of plant cuticle. As I told you, plant cuticles serve as a prevention. It actually prevent excessive transpiration. So a waxy cuticle, the leaves may be covered with this thick waxy cuticle, which is impermeable to water and water vapor, and thus it reduces excessive transpiration from the plant surface. Okay, except through stomata. Next we come to some external factors affecting on transpiration. The external factor, first we see the light. Very interesting. We all know stomata remain open in presence of light. When there is a light, the stomata open wide. And why? They open wide not for transpiration. During presence of light, stomata open wide to allow diffusion of carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. And in that time, what happens? The water also get released into the atmosphere. Okay. Next, temperature. Yes, more the temperature, if the outside temperature is higher, means if the temperature is higher, the evaporation rate will also be higher. So if the outside temperature is higher, the transpiration from the leaves will also increase. So increase in temperature allows more water to evaporate from the leaf surface, and thus allows greater transpiration rate, and decrease in temperature reduces the transpiration rate. Okay. Next we come to wind. Yes, wind speed. Yes, that is also very important thing. Wind, what is wind? Wind is a moving air. Moving air is called wind. So when the day is windy, if the day is windy, what is happening? Wind is removing away the lost water vapor quickly from the leaf surface. So the leaf surfaces are becoming empty. Okay, and thus more spaces are creating for holding more water vapor release from the leaf surface. So if the wind is faster, or if it is a windy day, in a windy condition, what we say, transpiration rate increases, because wind remove the water vapor quickly from the leaf surface, and thus speed up the diffusion of water vapor from the leaf and thus increase the rate of transpiration. Humidity. What is humidity? Humidity is the amount of moisture present in the air. So transpiration is reduced if the air outside is humid. Why? High humidity in the air reduces the rate of outward diffusion of the internal water vapor across stomata. Why? Because air already holding huge amount of water vapor and there leaves no space for holding more water vapor loss by the plant. In that case, what happens? Diffusion of water vapor decreases from the leaves, or transpiration rate decreases if humidity rises. Next we come to some structural modification of leaves or some adaptations in plants or adaptation in leaf to reduce excessive transpiration. Very first, sunken stomata. In some plants we may see stomata are sunken or stomata are small. Then thickened cuticle. A thick layer of cuticle, a thick waxy layer on the surface of the leaves can also reduce the rate of transpiration. Next, hair on leaves. Yes, sometimes we also find hair on leaves to decrease the rate of transpiration. Next, loss of leaves. Loss of leaves is also another process of reducing. It is loss of leaves is given in your book. Go through that. Loss of leaves also helps in reducing the rate of transpiration. Next, shape, size and arrangement of leaves. Very interesting. Yes, leaves shape, size and arrangement also plays a very important role in reducing the rate of transpiration. Okay. So today up to this. Thank you.